Healing the Heart with Meg. A Journey of Self-Discovery, Healing, and Purpose. By Megan Timby. Healing the Heart with Meg. Copyright 2026 by Megan Timby. All rights reserved. First edition published in the United States of America. No part of this publication may be reproduced, distributed, stored in a retrieval system, or transmitted in any form, or by any means, electronic, mechanical, photocopying, recording, or otherwise, without prior written permission from the copyright owner, except for brief quotations used in reviews or scholarly works. This book is intended for inspirational and educational purposes only. It is not a substitute for professional medical, mental health, legal, or financial advice. Readers are encouraged to seek appropriate professional guidance when needed. Dedication. I dedicate this book to my family, who encourage me to write, be myself, and treat me like anyone else even though I have a disability. Also to anyone carrying a broken heart, this book is for you. May you find hope where there has been despair, peace where there has been pain, and the courage to believe that healing is possible. With love. Meg. Contents. Be kind, be you, be awesome. Isaac. A friendship that made me feel seen. Disability, dignity, and belonging. Disability pride. Embracing my story. Make a wish. A more informed society. Lessons that set me free. Worry. One lesson I have not mastered yet. Art and joy. Poems and reflections. Healing moving forward. About the author. Forward. When I began writing Healing the Heart with Meg, I wasn't trying to create something perfect, I was simply trying to put words to the quiet things so many of us carry inside. Heartbreak, grief, disappointment, loss. These experiences don't always announce themselves loudly. Sometimes they show up in silence, in sleepless nights, in the feeling that life has moved on, but your heart is still catching up. This book was born from that space. It is not written from a place of having all the answers, but from a place of learning how to keep going, one breath, one prayer, one small step at a time. My hope is that as you move through these pages, you feel less alone in whatever you are carrying. You won't find perfection here. What you will find is honesty, encouragement, and gentle reminders that healing is not a straight line, it is a process. Some days feel like progress, and some days feel like starting over. Both are part of the journey. If you are reading this while your heart feels heavy, I want you to know this. You are still worthy of peace, still capable of joy, and still allowed to heal in your own time. My hope is that these words meet you exactly where you are, and give you even a small sense of hope that brighter days are still ahead. With a healing heart. Meg. Chapter 1. Be kind. Be you. Be awesome. As the cover says, be kind. Be you. Be awesome. People aren't going to remember that I graduated from Rutgers University. They will remember and care that I made their day by smiling, or making them laugh, and taking the time to talk to them. People are also not going to remember what paid jobs I have had, but they will remember that I made them feel welcome, and not so lost as I escorted them to their destination at the hospital. Megan in Tijuana, Mexico, hammering a nail. While in Tijuana, Mexico, building houses for families with my high school church youth group, I met a family who had a 4-year-old daughter with cerebral palsy who couldn't talk or walk. She didn't have a wheelchair or a way to communicate. I realized then how fortunate I am to live in the United States, where my family could afford for me to have a wheelchair, and my friends, who cannot talk, are fortunate to have augmentative alternative communication (AAC) devices. The family thanked me and appreciated that I gave them hope and not to give up, and she can also have a great life. What I learned while being in Mexico was people are happier there than they are here in the United States. Here in the United States we have expensive cars and houses, and in Mexico they are fortunate if they get to live in a house made out of cardboard boxes. Reflection. What is one small act of kindness you can offer today to someone else, or to yourself? Chapter 2. Isaac. A friendship that made me feel seen. Megan and her wonderful friend Isaac. One of the most meaningful friendships I had was my late friend Isaac. He was always there for me and was very sincere and loyal. He made me feel special by telling me I'm beautiful while truly meaning it, and he didn't just love me because he said I was beautiful. He loved me as a person and admired me for everything I have accomplished and for knowing what I want and don't want in life. Isaac always told me he loved me. I have told my family and people I loved them, but not as often as he did. Isaac taught me to say I love you more, because you don't know when the last time you are going to see or talk with someone again. I admired Isaac for going to school all of his life, and always having a positive outlook on life even though he had spina bifida, and making everyone, myself included, feel important, and we all mattered. Shortly before he passed away, Isaac told me he wished he had done more with his life, such as graduating from college, getting a job, and traveling more. I told him the best achievement in his life was making people feel special, loved and important. In my opinion, that is the greatest achievement and gift of all. Speaking of gifts, Isaac thanked me for getting him back in touch with his father by telling him about the Wave of Whidbey Island camp in Seattle, Washington. I had no idea that I gave him that gift, but I'm happy I was able to do so. Sometimes we as human beings don't realize when we might be helping someone and making an impact on their lives. If there was something important to tell someone, I would tell them like my friend Isaac said. If you feel like you don't belong in this world, you do. You matter. He said this during his wheelchair dancing interview. Knowing that I matter is especially hard to realize when I have a disability and use a wheelchair, as the world wasn't originally designed for me. No matter what you are going through, we all belong and matter. Isaac passed away on December 8, 2024. I miss him every day. There is no time limit for grieving, and he will always be in my thoughts and heart. Even though I can't talk to him on the phone anymore, I can still hear his voice saying, "I love you." How do I heal my heart during difficult times? I do art as if it's like taking in a breath of fresh air at the beach with the deep blue ocean waves crashing like in this beautiful photograph. A picture of a Hawaiian beach gifted by my older brother, Evan, and sister-in-law, Janelle. Reflection. Sometimes there are no words when your heart is healing. Surrounding or capturing beautiful moments, whether it's at a physical beach, or enjoying the beauty of art through photos, videos or water sounds, have proven to be healing tools on my journey of grief recovery. My favorite artwork, angel wings. My favorite artwork I did with pastels is of my late friend Isaac with angel wings. The process of doing the artwork was very healing as losing him hurt, but I felt better after doing the artwork. He was an angel on earth as he is in heaven, and loved me unconditionally like my dog. She is also an angel. My wonderful dog, Gracie. Creating artwork allows me to express feelings that are sometimes difficult to put into words. It gives me peace, comfort, and a way to honor those I love. I also heal by remembering the kindness others have shown me, and by focusing on the positive impact they made in my life. Most importantly, I remind myself that every person matters, belongs, and has a purpose. Even during the hardest moments, hope, love, and creativity help my heart continue to heal. What do you do during difficult times? Reflection. How do you heal your heart during difficult times? Who helped you feel seen and loved? How can you honor them? Chapter 3. Disability, Dignity and Belonging. Disability Awareness. Understanding and respecting differences. Disability is part of being human. It just means a person's body or brain works in a different way. Some disabilities you can see, like using a wheelchair or a cane. Other disabilities you can't see, like learning differences, anxiety, autism, hearing problems, or long-term illness. Having a disability does not mean someone is less than others. It just means they may do things in a different way. My experience is most people are afraid of people with disabilities, and say we are an inspiration, because they wouldn't know how to handle it being in our situation. There is nothing to be afraid of, and we are like everyone else. What is disability awareness? Disability awareness means understanding that people are different, being respectful to everyone, making sure no one is left out, treat people like you would want to be treated, knowing that sometimes the environment is the problem, not the person. For example, if a school or workplace only has stairs, it can be hard for someone who uses a wheelchair. The problem is the building, not the person. In the United States, the Americans with Disabilities Act of 1990 helps make sure people with disabilities have equal access to schools, jobs, and public places. I wish businesses would hire people with disabilities like myself, because they truly earned the job and have the qualifications, instead of hiring me to look good by hiring someone with a disability. I have had jobs where I get hired to do literally nothing. It doesn't make me feel good about myself. I feel more useful volunteering because the workplace really valued my work. Common misunderstandings. 1. People with disabilities can't do a lot of things. Not true. Many can do the same things as others, just in different ways. 2. You should always help. Not always. Some people want help, some don't. It's okay to ask first. 3. You can tell if someone has a disability just by looking. Not true. Many disabilities are invisible. How to be respectful. You can be respectful by talking to the person directly, not staring or making assumptions, asking before helping, being patient if someone needs more time, including people in activities and conversations. Quick thinking activity. Think about your school or business. Where might it be hard for some students, employees with disabilities to get around or join in? How could your school or workplace be more welcoming for everyone? How would you like to be treated if you had a disability? Even small things, like being kind, patient, and including others, make a big difference. Big idea to remember. Everyone deserves respect and a chance to be included. Disability is just one part of a person, not who they are completely. Disability Awareness Worksheet. Use this quiz to gather a sense of your own personal awareness surrounding disabilities and individuals affected by them. 1. What is disability? Write a simple answer in your own words. 2. True or false, circle 1. Everyone with a disability looks different from others. True/false. B. Some disabilities are not easy to see. True/false. C. People with disabilities cannot do many things. True/false. D. It is respectful to ask before helping someone. True/false. 3. Choose the best answer, circle 1. What is disability awareness? Making fun of differences. B. Understanding and respecting people with differences. C. Ignoring people who are different. 4. Think and write. Write one way you can be kind and inclusive at school or workplace. 5. Scenario. A person using a wheelchair and cannot use stairs. What is the real problem? Bonus question. Bonus question. Why is it important to include everyone? Exercises to experience disability. Suck on a lollipop while having your hands behind your back. Try writing your name with your non-dominant hand. Try walking with your legs crossed. Walk with a blindfold on for 1 minute. Chapter 4. Disability Pride. Embracing my story. July is Disability Pride Month. It is time to reflect on the journey of living with disability and to honor the strength, courage, and resilience found within that experience. I was born 2.5 months early during a tropical storm in Hawaii. How I look at it is, I wanted to come out and party early. For much of my life, I have learned that a person's story is never defined by one chapter. Disability is part of my story, but it is not the whole story. I am more than the challenges I have faced, such as overcoming learning disabilities, surgeries, injections for pain, and people thinking I'm dumb just because I use a wheelchair, and people thinking I'm going to run them over with my wheelchair. I am a person with dreams, such as getting married to someone like Isaac, emotions, gifts, relationships, and a heart that continues to grow. My journey has not always been easy, but what helps get me through is my smile and sense of humor. One aspect that is nice with not being able to walk is I bring my wheelchair everywhere I go, so I always have a place to sit. There have been moments of uncertainty, struggles with anxiety and depression, moments when I had to find strength I did not know I had, and moments when I had to remind myself that my worth was never measured by what I could or could not do. Along the way, I discovered that true strength is not about never struggling, it is about continuing forward with courage and hope. Living with disability has taught me compassion. It has taught me to look deeper, to listen more carefully, and to recognize the hidden battles that many people carry. It has shown me the importance of creating a world where people are valued not because they fit a certain image of ability, but because they are human. Disability pride is not about ignoring the difficult moments. It is about honoring the entire journey, the challenges, the growth, the lessons, and the beauty found along the way. I am proud of my story. I am proud of the person I have become. And I hope my journey reminds others that every life has meaning, every heart has value, and every person deserves to be seen, heard, and loved. Chapter 5. Make a wish. A more informed society. If I could change something about the world, it would be for people to realize that they can become disabled at any point in their life, and not to take their abilities for granted. The disability community is considered a minority, but in reality, it really is the majority, because at any moment people can join us. I personally realized this when my grandfather was diagnosed with amyotrophic lateral sclerosis, ALS, and my grandmother and father had strokes. Watching loved ones become disabled is extremely painful and difficult for me, as it's different being born with a disability, such as cerebral palsy, CP, than acquiring one. Yes, having a disability since birth can be very frustrating, as getting around in a wheelchair can be difficult, or impossible, especially if there are stairs getting into a place. After watching my father struggle with his balance and falling, I guess I'm fortunate I can't walk, as I don't have to worry about falling as much, and when I crawl on the floor, if I lose my balance, I don't fall very far or hard. The main difference with being born with a disability and acquiring one is that I don't know any difference, and the person acquiring a disability has to start a new life over, which can be very challenging and frustrating. If someone does become disabled, remember to treat them the same before they become disabled. People with disabilities might have a brain injury, but we are still people and deserve to be treated with compassion and respect. Reflection. Where have you seen dignity, access, or belonging made easier or harder for someone? What can you do differently? Chapter 6. Lessons that set me free. Lesson 1. Don't take things personally. One of the most important lessons in life is learning not to take everything personally. It took me years to learn this, and not to blame myself for others' emotions, and not to blame myself thinking I always did something wrong. People's words, attitudes, and actions are often reflections of what they are experiencing internally rather than a reflection of your worth. Everyone carries hidden struggles. Some people are dealing with stress, anxiety, grief, disappointment, heartbreak, financial pressure, or battles that no one else knows about. When emotions become overwhelming, they can affect how a person communicates and behaves. A short response, a lack of patience, or even an unkind remark may have more to do with their emotional state than with you. It is natural to feel hurt when someone treats us poorly, but taking a step back can help us gain perspective. Instead of immediately assuming we did something wrong, we can remind ourselves that we may not know the full story. Compassion allows us to see beyond the behavior and recognize that people are human, imperfect, and sometimes struggling. Not taking things personally does not mean accepting disrespect or ignoring your feelings. It means understanding that another person's actions do not define your value. Your self-worth should not be determined by someone else's bad day, emotional pain, or inability to manage their feelings. The next time someone's behavior disappoints you, pause before reacting. Consider that they may be carrying a burden you cannot see. Respond with patience when possible, Protect your peace when necessary, and remember that what others project often says more about them than it does about you. Starting in the 4th grade, kids used to make fun of my disability and mimic my body movements, and they asked if I was retarded, a word I don't like to be called, because I am not stupid. At first I took it personally, feeling sad, and like I was less than them, but as I got older I realized they didn't know any better, and as a result, my first volunteer experience was giving educational talks to middle school and high school students about disability. I have also learned not to take it personally when people block me on the phone and social media. At first, it feels like a slap in the face, as if I did something wrong. As it turns out, if people block you, they might be going through something emotionally, and not to take it personally. Choosing not to take things personally is a gift you give yourself. It creates space for understanding, strengthens emotional resilience, and allows you to move through life with greater peace and confidence. Lesson 2. Don't skip doctor appointments. There is a kind of anxiety that doesn't just make you nervous, and it starts quietly rerouting your life. It doesn't always show up as panic. Sometimes it shows up as, I'll reschedule that doctor's appointment, or I'll go next month when things are less hectic, or I'm probably fine anyway. At first, it feels reasonable, even responsible. You're avoiding stress, avoiding bad news, avoiding the uncomfortable unknown. But over time, avoidance starts to build its own momentum. One skipped appointment becomes two. A routine checkup turns into something you keep meaning to get back to. And underneath it all, anxiety is doing what it does best, convincing you that not going is safer than going. The tricky part is that it often feels like relief in the moment. You cancel, and your body loosens a little. The immediate tension drops. Anxiety learns from that. It starts to whisper, "See? That was the right call." But relief isn't the same as resolution. What slowly gets lost in that cycle is trust, which is trust in your own ability to handle discomfort, trust that you can sit through uncertainty, trust that you can face something hard and still be okay afterward. Avoidance chips away at that trust one small decision at a time. Learning not to let anxiety take the wheel isn't about suddenly becoming fearless. It's more like rebuilding a relationship with discomfort. You start recognizing that the fear of a doctor's visit is often louder than the visit itself. That the waiting, imagining, and postponing can actually be heavier than the reality. And then comes the quieter shift. Going anyway. Not because you feel calm, but because you don't want anxiety to keep making your decisions for you. You show up even with the knot in your stomach. You sit in the waiting room even though your brain is trying to rehearse every worst case scenario. And most of the time, you realize something important afterward. You survived it. It wasn't as scary as your mind told you it would be. That experience starts to accumulate. Not all at once, but gradually. Each appointment you don't cancel becomes evidence that anxiety is not a reliable decision maker. The goal isn't to erase anxiety. It's to stop treating it like an authority. Anxiety will always have opinions. Loud ones. Dramatic ones. But you get to decide whether it's in charge of your calendar. And the more you practice showing up anyway, the more space you create between fear and action, the space where your actual life starts to happen again. I learned this lesson at Christmas when my leg started to hurt. I kept putting off going to the doctor until March until the pain got worse. Long story short, I should have gone a lot sooner because I feel much better now. Lesson 3. Learning to stop people pleasing. For a long time, I thought being a good person meant making everyone happy. I also thought people wouldn't like me because being in a world that doesn't welcome people with disabilities with open arms is difficult. I also said yes when I wanted to say no. I agreed with things I didn't believe in. I put other people's needs before my own, even when I was exhausted. I worried constantly about disappointing others, and I measured my worth by how much I could do for everyone around me. What I eventually learned is that people pleasing is not the same thing as kindness. Kindness comes from a genuine desire to help. People pleasing often comes from fear. Fear of rejection, conflict, criticism, or being disliked. When I was people pleasing, I wasn't always acting from my heart. Sometimes I was simply trying to avoid uncomfortable feelings. Learning to stop people pleasing didn't happen overnight. It started with small steps. I practiced saying, "I can't do that right now." I stopped over-explaining my decisions. I reminded myself that setting boundaries doesn't make me selfish. It makes me healthy. One of the hardest lessons was realizing that not everyone will be happy with my choices, and that's okay. Other people's disappointment is not always a sign that I have done something wrong. Sometimes it simply means I am taking care of myself. I also learned that my value is not determined by how useful I am to others. I don't have to earn love, friendship, or respect by constantly sacrificing my own needs. The people who truly care about me want me to be honest, not exhausted. Today, I still care about others like volunteering or donating to organizations, but I no longer feel responsible for everyone's feelings. I understand that I can be compassionate without abandoning myself. I make time for myself by going for a walk, or doing artwork, such as drawing or painting, or hugging and talking to my dog. I can say no without feeling guilty. I can have boundaries without being unkind. Learning not to people please has given me something I never had before. Freedom. The freedom to be authentic, to protect my peace, and to live according to my own values, instead of constantly seeking approval from everyone else. Lesson 4. Taking responsibility for your own actions. Don't blame others for your mistakes, but don't beat yourself up for them either. Take ownership of your actions, learn from what happened, and make better choices moving forward. Accountability and self-compassion can exist together, as you can admit when you're wrong while still treating yourself with kindness and understanding. Life has a way of reminding us that we are not in control of everything. We cannot control what other people think, what they say, the choices they make, or the unexpected challenges that appear without warning, like my dad having a stroke. We cannot stop every disappointment, prevent every mistake, or guarantee that things will always go according to plan. What we can control is how we respond. We can choose patience instead of anger, especially with ourselves. We can choose understanding instead of resentment. We can choose to keep moving forward instead of letting obstacles define us, just like this drawing of mine illustrates. While circumstances may be beyond our control, our attitude, effort, and actions remain our responsibility. Don't look back. Keep looking ahead, by Meg. The strongest people are not those who never face difficulties. They are the ones who learn how to respond to difficulties with courage and grace. They understand that energy spent fighting reality is often wasted, while energy spent adapting and growing creates progress. It doesn't do any good to replay in your head over and over again that I should have done this instead of doing that. The situation is over, and you can't go back and change it, but focus on what you could do better next time, like maybe not getting upset and taking a breath before reacting. Every day presents a choice. We can focus on what is outside our control and become frustrated by it, or we can focus on what is within our control, our thoughts, our decisions, and our character. One path leads to helplessness, the other leads to peace. You may not be able to control the wind, but you can adjust your sails. And often, the way you react to life's challenges matters far more than the challenges themselves. Lesson 5. I'm worth it. My worth is not determined by how well other people understand me. I live with a disability, and while some people may not fully understand what that means, or what my daily experiences are like, their lack of understanding does not diminish my value as a person. I used to want to take a magic wand to get rid of my disability to fit in. Now I realize my life is not less meaningful because it looks different from someone else's. My challenges do not erase my strengths, my dreams, my kindness, my resilience, or my ability to make a difference in the lives of others. There will always be people who make assumptions about things they have never experienced. Some may judge, dismiss, or misunderstand what I am capable of. But their opinions are not the measure of my worth. I do not need everyone to understand my journey in order for my journey to matter. I am worthy of love, friendship, respect, opportunity, and belonging. I deserve to take up space in this world exactly as I am. My disability is one part of my life, but it does not define the entirety of who I am. I am a person with hopes, talents, interests, feelings, and a future that continues to unfold. The fact that I have faced obstacles that others may never see is not a sign of weakness. It is evidence of strength. Every day that I continue moving forward, learning, growing, and showing up for myself is a reminder that my life has value. I do not have to prove my worth to earn it. I do not have to fit someone else's expectations to deserve happiness. My life matters. My voice matters. My experiences matter. Even when others fail to understand, I can choose to remember this truth. I am worthy, I belong here, and I have a life worth living. You do too. Lesson 6. No regrets. One of the best things I have learned in life is not to spend too much time looking back and regretting what could have been. Regret can keep you stuck in the past, replaying the same disappointments over and over. It's not good for your mental health because it prevents you from appreciating the opportunities and relationships that come from the path you are actually on. Don't look back. Keep looking ahead. Years ago, I was disappointed when I wasn't accepted into UC Berkeley. For a long time, I wondered what my life would have been like if I had turned out differently. But instead, I attended Santa Rosa Junior College in California. Looking back now, that decision led me to something incredibly valuable. I met a really great friend who had a similar disability and shared many of the same interests and experiences. We connected right away, and 27 years later, we're still close friends. If I had gotten exactly what I wanted at the time, I might never have met that person. That's why I have come to believe that sometimes things happen for a reason. We don't always understand it in the moment, but life has a way of opening doors we never expected. Rather than focusing on what didn't happen, it's healthier to embrace where you are and trust that every experience can lead to something meaningful. The past cannot be changed, but the future is shaped by what we do today. When we let go of regret, we give ourselves the freedom to move forward, grow, and discover the blessings that may be waiting just around the corner. I didn't learn these lessons on my own. I had the help of life coaches and therapists. It's okay to ask for help. You are never alone. Reflection. Which lesson do you need most right now? Perspective, courage, boundaries, accountability, self-worth, or letting go of regret? Chapter 7. One lesson I have not mastered yet. I worry a lot, especially when it comes to safety. It's probably because I have a disability and feel I can't physically protect myself. I also worry about my family and friends' safety because I care about them so much. If I could learn not to worry, my heart would heal more. Worry is often misunderstood as a sign that something is wrong with your healing. In reality, it is usually a sign that something in you is trying very hard to stay safe. When the heart begins to heal, it doesn't mean the mind immediately relaxes. The heart may be learning softness, but the nervous system may still be learning trust. And trust takes time. So in the same inner space, where you are trying to open, another part of you may still be scanning, predicting, preparing, trying to make sure nothing unexpected can hurt you again. This is where many people begin to doubt themselves. If I'm healing, why do I still worry? But that question assumes healing should look like silence inside. More often, healing looks like awareness. You don't stop having protective thoughts, you start noticing them differently. Worry is not the opposite of healing. It is a protective rhythm that has simply not yet learned it can stand down. It says, if I think enough, maybe I can prevent pain. The heart, meanwhile, is learning something more uncertain but more freeing. Even without certainty, I can stay present with myself. At first, these two systems feel like they are working against each other. One tightens while the other tries to soften. One forecasts danger while the other tries to remain here. But over time, something subtle begins to happen. You stop treating worry as a command and start recognizing it as a signal. Not everything it predicts is true, and not everything it fears requires action. Healing the heart, then, is not the removal of worry. It is the slow rewriting of your relationship to it. You learn that you can feel concern without being pulled into its current. You can hear the alarm without abandoning the room. You can remain present even while uncertainty exists. And in that space, something quietly revolutionary happens. Safety is no longer something you chase through thought. It becomes something you practice through presence. You are not failing when you worry. You are in the process of teaching yourself that you no longer need to. If I could change my relationship with worrying, I would keep telling myself it is. What will be, and whatever happens, I will be okay. Reflection. Take your time with these. Don't rush to answer correctly, just notice what comes up. When worry shows up in your life, What is it usually trying to protect you from? What would you tell yourself to try not to worry? Chapter 8. Art and Joy. Things that bring me peace. A blank slate. When thoughts inside my head are noisy and spinning in circles, knowing the outside world can be scary at times, I sit at the desk in my bedroom, with a fresh sheet of rainbow scratch art in front of me. At first, it looks like nothing special, just a plain, dark surface. But I know the secrets it holds. A Blank Slate by Meg. With the first slow stroke of my wooden stylus, color burst through. Pink, purple, orange, yellow, blue, and green. Each line I scratch away feels like peeling back layers of worry, letting my thoughts breathe. The colors aren't just bright. They seem alive, like they are dancing just for me. I don't have to think about being perfect. The magic is in the surprise, never knowing if the next swirl would reveal a sunny yellow or a deep ocean blue. As the patterns grow, my chest feels lighter, my mind calmer. Like the rainbow is whispering, "You are safe here. You can rest. Everything is going to be okay." By the time I finish, my little sheet shouts with happiness and joy. And so do I, peace settling over me like getting a kiss from my dog, happiness glowing in colors I can finally see and enjoy. When doing art, especially experimenting with rainbow scratch art, it makes me forget about wanting to take a magic wand to get rid of my disability. Having cerebral palsy can be challenging at times due to having tight and stiff muscles, and some people assume I am dumb just because I use a wheelchair. And I get frustrated with needing help when some people give an attitude about helping me and make me feel like I am an inconvenience. But when I do art, I forget about my challenges and frustrations and feel free. I like to draw the ocean because I love being on the beach, and I love drawing flowers and butterflies because they are beautiful and put a smile on my face just like dogs do. I also like to draw music notes, because music makes me dance and come alive. Art Expression by Meg. 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 I always try to focus on what makes me happy and brings me joy and peace, because that is how I get through the day, and life is too short not to be happy. What brings me peace is reminding myself not to take anything personally, and that what people assume about me has nothing to do with me, and I am still a good and lovable person, regardless of what they think. What makes you happy that brings you joy and peace? Whatever you are going through, it will pass and you will get through it. Reflection. What helps you feel more like yourself? Create a small list of 3 things that bring you joy, peace, or a sense of freedom. Chapter 9 Poems and Reflections. Megan with her trainer, Mark. A trainer, a friend. Some people enter quietly, never asking for recognition, yet somehow leave footprints where strength begins to grow. You taught me that healing isn't always found in grand moments. Sometimes it lives in one more step, one more breath, one more "you've got this" when I wasn't sure I did. You believed in me on days my confidence was hidden, celebrated victories that others might never have noticed, and reminded me that becoming stronger is an act of kindness toward ourselves. The weights we lifted were never just metal. They carried doubt, fear, and yesterday's burdens, and somehow, together, they became lighter. Now life has carried me to a different place, and though miles stretch between us, gratitude knows no distance. I'll miss your encouragement, your patience, your steady presence, and the way you always made me feel that I could do one more, be one more, believe one more. But this isn't goodbye. The lessons you've given me travel wherever I go. They live in every healthy choice, every determined step, every moment I remember that strength begins in the heart long before it reaches the body. Thank you for helping me grow stronger, inside and out. For being kind when kindness mattered most. For always being there, not just as a trainer, but as someone who genuinely cared. May you know that the encouragement you gave continues to echo, bringing healing long after the workout ends. And whenever I stand a little taller, choose courage over comfort, or smile because I know I can, a part of that strength will always be because of you. Distance may change our routine, but it cannot diminish the gratitude I carry or the friendship we'll continue to share. Some people help us build muscle. The rare ones help us heal our hearts. You have done both. Abigail. Howling Hound. Tiny Terrier. A rat with salt and pepper fur. Snooping snout on. Wandering walks. Busily barking. Twirling for treats. I rub her tummy. She kisses my cheek. July. Healing hearts with disability pride. July arrives with an open heart, a reminder that we all belong. A month to honor every journey, every voice, every beautiful song. We carry stories of courage, of battles fought, and bridges made. We honor the ones who came before us, the paths they cleared, the hope they gave. Disability is not something to hide, not a reason to feel less whole. It is a part of the human spirit, a chapter written in every soul. May we heal the hearts that have known pain, the hearts that felt unseen. May we replace fear with understanding, and grow a world that's kind and keen. Let us build with love and compassion, with listening hearts and open hands. Let us celebrate every person and the gifts each life commands. This July, we honor resilience. We honor strength. We honor grace. We honor every person's journey and the beauty they bring to this place. Disability pride is a reminder. We are connected. We are one. Together we can heal old wounds and welcome a brighter sun. Healing heart. Some days my body feels like a battlefield, where muscles tighten without warning, where pain settles deep into my spine, like an unwelcome guest that refuses to leave. The wheelchair carries me through hallways, sidewalks, seasons, and though I am grateful for its strength, there are moments when my heart aches for the ease that others seem to take for granted. I have mourned the life I imagined. I have cried for the things I cannot do. For the days stolen by exhaustion. For the dreams rewritten by spastic cerebral palsy and degenerative disc disease. Yet healing is not forgetting. It is not pretending the pain is gone. Healing is learning that my worth was never measured by how far I could walk, how fast I could move, or how little I needed help. Healing is discovering That courage sometimes looks like getting out of bed when every nerve protests, smiling through another appointment, or facing another day, when yesterday already took everything I had. Not my prison. My wheelchair is not my prison. It is part of my story. A story of endurance. A story of adaptation. A story of surviving storms that many will never see. And though pain still visits, it no longer owns my heart. My heart belongs to hope, to laughter shared with loved ones, to sunsets watched from quiet places, to the small victories that bloom in the cracks of difficult days. I am more than diagnosis, more than limitation, more than suffering. I am a soul still growing, still dreaming, still finding beauty in a body that asks for gentleness. And each day, as I learn to be kinder to myself, my heart heals a little more. Not because the struggle disappears, but because I finally understand. I am not broken. I am resilient. And even on the hardest days, there is still light within me, carrying me forward. Damned if I do. They tell me to keep trying, to keep believing, to keep searching for the thing that finally helps. One says, take the shot. Another says, choose therapy. I stand between them, holding a body that hurts, and a heart that is tired. Damned if I do. Damned if I don't. Pain has a way of making every choice feel like a gamble, every hope feel fragile. But even here, where uncertainty lies, I am still choosing to rise each morning. Not because it is easy, not because I know how this story ends, but because somewhere inside me, beneath the ache, hope still whispers. Don't give up on yourself. And for today, that whisper is enough. Do your best. Do the best with what you've got, not what you wish you had, not what might show up later, not the version of you that lives in some perfect tomorrow. Do it with the tired hands, the half-charged hope, the messy middle of things still unfolding. Turn scraps into starting points, pause into patience, almost into enough. Because even here, especially here, there's something quietly powerful about showing up anyway, about shaping a whole world from whatever stayed in your pockets when you didn't think to check. And if it feels small, if it feels unfinished, if it feels like this is all I've got, that's exactly where it begins. I refuse. They gave my pain a name, degenerative disc disease, as if a diagnosis could define the rest of my story. They see the bed. They see the wheelchair. They see the miles I've already lost. But they do not hear the quiet promise I whisper to myself each morning. I refuse. I refuse to surrender the simple miracle of standing. I refuse to let fear become my strongest muscle. Yes, some days my body trembles. Some days every step feels borrowed from tomorrow. Some days the pain writes its own language across my spine. Still, I will rise. Maybe not quickly. Maybe not gracefully. But faithfully. Because healing isn't always the absence of pain. Sometimes healing is choosing to move anyway. I am fighting for every step, every stretch, every ounce of strength my body is willing to give. I refuse a life measured only by limitations. I choose movement. I choose hope. I choose the possibility that tomorrow's step will be stronger than today's. And if I must rest, I will rest without surrender. For my heart still believes what my body sometimes forgets. I was created to keep moving, to keep growing, to keep living. And I am not finished yet. Feels like just getting out of a cast. They call it degenerative disc disease, but those words cannot describe the sharp, shooting pain that streaks from my back down my leg, a flash of fire, a reminder that pain can arrive without warning. Some days it feels like I'm just getting out of a cast. Not because I'm learning to walk, but because every movement feels unfamiliar again. Shifting in my chair. Reaching for what I need. Transferring from one place to another. The simplest motions can demand extraordinary strength. Pain has a way of shrinking the world, of making minutes feel like hours, and ordinary moments feel like mountains. There are days when my body seems to fight itself, when every nerve cries out, and exhaustion settles in long before the day is done. Yet even here, hope has not left me. It lives in the deep breath I take before the pain eases, in the courage to face another day, in the resilience that refuses to let suffering become my identity. I am more than this diagnosis, more than damaged discs, more than the pain that shoots through my body. I am still here, still dreaming, still loving, still becoming. My wheelchair is not the measure of my strength. My strength is found in rising to meet each day, in choosing hope when pain is loud, and in believing that even on the hardest days, my spirit remains unbroken. I may move differently, but I still move forward. Megan's Shoreline Song. Megan strolls along the sandy shore, where rolling waves sing forevermore. A loyal dog trots close at her side, leaving paw print stories where the gentle waves glide. She gathers sunsets in her heart and soul, each glowing sky making her spirit whole. Orange, pink, and golden light, painting magic across the coming night. The sea hums softly, the breeze sings low, sharing secrets only beach lovers know. When rainbows stretch across the sky, Megan smiles as colors fly high. Like a bridge of wonder, bright and free, they dance above the endless sea. Sunflowers turn toward the sun's warm light, standing tall with hearts so bright. Tulips bloom in shades so sweet, like little bursts of joy at Megan's feet. They sway together in the summer air, adding beauty everywhere, with a spirit as warm as a summer day, and kindness that never fades away. Megan shines wherever she may roam, a sunset soul who carries sunshine home. Beach strolls, flowers, dogs, and skies above fill her world with color, peace, and love. And wherever the ocean meets the land, joy seems to bloom beneath Megan's hand. Chapter 10, Healing. Moving forward. Healing the heart is not about forgetting the pain or pretending it never existed. It is about finding the strength to move forward, learning from life's challenges, and allowing hope to replace hurt. Healing takes time, patience, and self-compassion, but every small step brings us closer to peace. By embracing forgiveness, accepting change, and believing in brighter days ahead, we discover that even a broken heart can become stronger than before. In the end, healing is not just about recovering from pain, it's about growing into a wiser, more resilient version of ourselves. As you continue healing your heart, please remember you are not alone, and remember these gentle reminders below. Gentle reminders. You are kind. You are smart. You are important. You deserve kindness. You deserve respect. You deserve love. Never give up. Please don't say you can't do something unless you try. Whatever you are going through, you will get through it. One more reflection. What would it look like to treat yourself with the same kindness you offer other people? One last note. If you are debating about telling your story, just do it, because what you have to say might help someone someday. About the author. I believe that healing is possible even after life's deepest hurts. My passion is encouraging broken hearts to find hope, strength, and peace again. Through my writing, I strive to remind others that pain doesn't have to be the end of the story. Every wound can become a place of growth, every setback is an opportunity for renewal, and every heart can learn to love and trust again. Whether you have experienced loss, heartbreak, disappointment, or life's unexpected challenges, my hope is that these words bring comfort, inspiration, and the courage to keep moving forward. I write from a place of compassion, faith, and the belief that healing is a journey no one has to walk alone. Thank you for allowing me to be part of your journey. My hope is that you close these pages feeling seen, encouraged, and reminded that your story isn't over, and your heart was made to heal, and brighter days are ahead. If you would like to follow me, please visit lettinggothroughart.weebly.com. I was born in Hawaii. I grew up in the San Francisco Bay Area and currently reside in New Jersey to be closer to family.